This segment is on the general senses. Human senses can be grouped into two broad categories, general senses and special senses. The general senses have more simple pathways and include the sensation of touch, temperature, pain, chemical and pressure detection. It also includes body position, which is called proprioception. The receptors for the general senses are found throughout the body. The special senses have more complex pathways to the brain, and the receptors for these senses are located in specialized areas of the body. The special senses include gustation, which is taste, olfaction, which is smell, vision, hearing, and equilibrium, which is balance. This segment will deal with the general senses. When stimulated, the general sensory receptors stimulate sensory pathways leading to sensory processing centers in the brain. In the brain, conscious and subconscious motor centers will interpret and integrate this information. Some of the higher order functions, such as memory, learning, and intelligence, may influence the interpretation of sensory information. After the centers in the brain have integrated and interpreted this information, a motor command will be sent down a motor pathway. There are two different motor pathways, either the somatic nervous system or the autonomic nervous system. Chapter 15 deals with the somatic nervous system. In the somatic nervous system, motor commands are sent to skeletal muscles. In Chapter 16, we will talk about the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system sends commands to visceral effectors such as smooth muscles, glands, cardiac muscle, and adipocytes. A single sensory neuron monitors a specific region called a receptive field. These regions enable the brain to detect where a stimulus was applied to the body. The neuron of a specific receptive field is connected to a specific area of the body. The brain will interpret the sensory information from this receptive field. The nerve impulses that travel through a sensory neuron are similar to bursts of messages sent over a telegraph wire. These impulses provide the central nervous system with information on the intensity, duration, variation, and movement of the stimulus. There are many different kinds of sensory receptors that transmit information to the central nervous system. Nociceptors are pain receptors in the epidermis. Thermoreceptors are sensors for changes in temperature and can be found in the dermis, skeletal muscle, and hypothalamus. Chemoreceptors are found in the medulla oblongata and in the heart and major arteries of the heart. They monitor the levels of oxygen, carbon dioxide, and the pH of blood. Mechanoreceptors are touch receptors that bend when stimulated. There are three types of mechanoreceptors: baroreceptors, proprioceptors, and tactile receptors. Baroreceptors monitor changes in liquids and gases and are found in blood vessels in the lungs. Proprioceptors monitor the change in body position, so the central nervous system knows where our body is located in our three-dimensional surroundings. Muscle spindles are proprioceptor receptors found in muscles, and they inform the brain of the changes in muscle tension. Golgi tendon organs are receptors found in tendons near joints, and they inform the brain about joint position. Tactile receptors are located in the skin. They respond to touch and provide us with information regarding texture, shape, size, and location of the tactile stimulation. Free nerve endings are simple receptors that are exposed tips of dendrites and are sensitive to touch. Other receptors may be dendrites surrounded by concentric layers of connective tissue and respond to pressure, vibrations, and touch. Receptors display adaptation, which means a reduction in sensitivity to repeated stimulus. When a receptor is stimulated, it first responds strongly, but then the responses decline as the stimulus is repeated. Peripheral adaptation is the decline in response to a stimuli at receptors and will reduce the amount of sensory information the central nervous system will have to process. Central adaptation occurs in the central nervous system. Referred pain means that the part of the body where pain is felt is different than the part of the body where the painful stimulus is being applied. For example, during a heart attack, a person will feel pain in the left arm. The arm and heart are supplied by nerves from the same segments of the spinal cord, and the interneurons in these segments spread the incoming pain signals from the heart to other areas innervated by that same segment.